All right, guys, Oppo Find N5. Today we are talking tips and tricks to get the most out of your device. This video is going to be a long one with a lot of things to cover, so make sure that you use those timestamps down below to skip ahead if you think that you need to. Something I'm talking about you already knew. Just skip to the next one. Maybe there'll be something in there for you as well. Let's start off talking about how multitasking works. It is a robust system with a ton of things to cover. Inevitably, I will leave something out in this video. If I do, drop it in a comment down below and let people know what I missed. So here we are in a full screen application, and if you want to start multitasking, the simplest way to start is probably using the taskbar. What you're going to do is a short swipe up at the bottom of the screen, and that taskbar is going to appear. If you do too big of a swipe up, you're just going to go home. So there takes a little bit of kind of getting used to like how to get the taskbar without going home because the gesture is very, very similar. But once you've done that, taskbar pops up. You can grab any of these applications that you want, or you can go into your app drawer, which is right here, and you can drag one of these apps onto the screen. Let's just do the Play Store because there's going to be nothing in it that I'm going to have to worry about. Long press it and then just put it wherever you want it, left or right. Whenever you release it, you're going to have these two applications in split screen. This little handle in the middle, if you click on it, you can do a couple different things like swapping sides. It's just going to reverse what app is where. You can also do a thing where you save these two apps as an app pair that can be launched together later, or you can switch to a top and bottom split, where one is on top of the other. And this sort of reveals another big thing about the Oppo Find N5, the way that it does multitasking. You can see that sometimes the app can actually go off the screen. If you click on these handles up here at the top, and then click on Expand, that's what's going to happen. You're going to get basically a full screen app, and then you can touch the other app and jump over to it. Let's go ahead and expand this one as well. Now we have two essentially full screen applications, but we can actually go further than that. Let's swipe up and grab our taskbar once again. And now we're going to grab another application, a third application. Let's just do YouTube, and we will drag it into this spot here where it says release to add. And now what we have is a big app, we have YouTube, and then we have another big app. Let's go back up to YouTube, and guess what we can do, guys? We can go ahead and expand it as well. So now we have three basically full screen applications that can all be jumped between. Take 4 fingers and do a pinch in, and all of these apps will appear on screen at once to be manipulated at the same time. Obviously, the usability of this is going to depend on what you're doing, but it might end up being useful. And if you do a 4-finger pinch in, you can go back to the way that you were before. This is not called Open Canvas on Oppo devices. Boundless something. It's a different name for Oppo, but it's very, very good. But there are other ways to get into split screen view. One of my favorites is to take 2 fingers and do a swipe down when you're in an application. That app parts like the Red Sea, and then all you have to do is just use your home screen, use your app drawer, and just launch another application, and boom, there it is in that split screen view. I absolutely love that. You can also click on the 3 dots at the top and click on split view that way as well. But you probably also see floating window because you can do that as well. So this basically puts this application in this floating window that can be resized and stuck up there in the corner. If I resize it a bit more, there it's going to go into the corner, and now I can launch another application, and it's going to just sort of live up there, and it can be moved around and resized. It's extremely useful. Let's go ahead and get rid of this one by just swiping up on it like that. And now in the Play Store, if we swipe up and hold, I can go floating window, I can go split screen view. So again, there are many ways to do the things you can do on this phone. And then, of course, just so that I don't miss an obvious thing here, if we take YouTube, we already have 2 applications open, and I drag it into the middle, floating window becomes an option as well. So you can drag off your taskbar and drag it to the middle to also get that floating window view. Like I said, there's a million ways to do everything on this phone. It's a little bit complicated, but you're likely to find a way to do pretty much everything that works well for you. Something else you might not know about that taskbar is you have this recent files option as well. Let's say you're in a text message, whatever it might be, you can pull this thing up and you can see recent images, recent documents, and then recent others. And what you can do with this is long press on that file and then drag it into place, and now that is attached and ready to be sent. It gives you like a basically like a really large clipboard almost of your recent files, making things really, really easy to share. Here on our launcher, if you long press in an empty space, you're going to go into this sort of editing view. And while you're in this, you can do quite a few cool things. So if you've ever needed to quickly edit what apps are on your home screen, you're going to probably love this. You can actually select multiple apps, and then whenever you go back, you can remove a bunch of applications all at once or create a folder or whatever it is that you need to do. I love the mass editing feature. You've also got the ability down here with icons to use a custom icon pack. How cool is that? Native into their launcher, you can use custom icons, but you can also sort of customize the icons. They have their own things going on. So here's classic. Radiance just kind of gives it like a little bit more of like a pop to it. It's a little bit subtle, but there's a few changes there. Shadow, kind of have like a black background. Material, and then you have Pebble, which kind of has like a rounded view. You can customize it. And again, like I said, you can actually use third-party icons. You can also jump into widgets right here as well, and this is where you're going to find your entire extremely long list of widgets that you can long press and then drag into place on your home screen wherever you want it to be. Obviously, I don't really need that, so we're going to hit that little minus button and remove that. Let's jump into more because there are at least a couple of things in here as well. The first one that I would tell you to probably do is go to app animation speed and change it from standard to enhanced. This is a little bit exaggerated, but by default, the animations just felt a little bit sluggish to me, so I changed it to enhanced, and that does feel a bit snappier now. I like this advanced material option as well, so as you can see, what it's going to be doing is applying blur effects to notifications, quick settings, and home screen folders. Power consumption might increase. You can see the difference here. Actually, let's just go home and you can see what I've got going on here. We'll go back into that setting and we'll turn it off and go back home, and you can see the difference. It just looks a little bit different. It's not a huge difference, but there it is. You'll also see manage apps underneath recent tasks, and for whatever reason, they're going to by default have several applications locked. And what this means is whenever you swipe up and hold where you can like clear out your running applications, some of them just won't clear out. They're locked. They're going to stay running. You can change that here. Did you know that on any screen, if you long press the little bar down here at the bottom that you swipe on to go home, that you swipe on to bring up your taskbar, if you press and hold on it, you're going to get a little vibration followed by circle to search. From here, you can select text to search that text, copy that text, translate it, whatever you want to do. Or if you are looking at an image, you can search that image by just simply circling it. This should pull up some similar things. There you go, a little AI overview and then some similar images. Circle to search is extremely useful. If we jump into wallpapers and style in our settings, there is actually a lot going on here. So you can change your wallpaper, you can change your always on display, but what I like to do is go into the themes. If I click on the theme that I currently have, you see that there are 3 different screens that you can use to customize things. Let's start with the always on display. So mine is set to seamless, which means there's not a whole lot you can do with it. If you click on classic, now you can kind of start editing things. If you click on it, there's all of these different things that you can put on your always on display. Lots of different customizations that you can do. It's not quite as customizable as something like Samsung, but it's at least there's a bit there. As you can see here, you can actually change the text color, and I like how they're actually gradients. That's kind of cool. If you come down here to digital clock, you'll also see that there are just a whole bunch more different fonts and so forth that you can use. If you jump over to your lock screen, there's a little bit that can be done here as well. If you click on your clock up here, you can change some of the information. So I have the weather being shown, but you can have it be steps. You can change the layout of the clock style, the clock font, and the color as well. I'll also point out that you can pinch to crop and move around your wallpaper. And if your wallpaper is the right kind of wallpaper, like maybe I can figure this out with this one. There we go. With a different image, you can see that there's depth happening now. You can see this little pop-up down here, and you can basically place things on top of where your clock would be. But it takes a certain image with a certain positioning to make that be a thing. You can see if you go too far, it won't let you do it. And then over here, I'll also point out that there's this style option for your wallpapers. It's kind of almost like nothing phone-esque, but it'll give you this sort of like rippled glass effect going on as well. And of course, you can always sort of pinch to zoom in and out and get that wallpaper positioned the way that you like it. If we're talking about customization, though, one of my favorite things that Oppo does, OnePlus does, big folders. You see how my folders are quite large here. And what's cool about them is you can click in the folder and expand them like any other folder, but you can also just click on the application directly. If you long press on any folder, you can use this to shrink or enlarge those folders. So definitely take advantage of that. And they're actually kind of more freeform than I was thinking that they were. Let's actually move this one over to another screen. Let's see, how big can we make a big folder? Okay, so we can kind of shrink it down like that. That's cool. Interesting. If we jump into foldable features, you'll see display size. And what this is actually doing is allowing you to basically customize per app how much of the screen they take up. Not all apps look and work perfectly on a screen this size and this aspect ratio, and this will allow you to quickly change that. I'll give you an example here that I use a lot. We'll go into whys. And as you can see, my home screen, I can't really see a whole heck of a lot of content. So if I swipe back over to this and I change this to, let's just do 16 by 9. And now I go back into the application, you can see that it has sort of squished itself down, and now I can see both of those primary cameras. This might be useful, again, for certain apps. If we jump into battery, up here at the top, battery mode, this is actually kind of cool because we have several different modes that we can use. Balanced mode is what it's going to come with by default, but there's also a high performance mode that's going to degrade your battery life, as you can see here, by a couple of hours. May cause a little bit more heat, but the thing's going to run even faster. Then there's a power saving and a super power saving mode as well. You can see different restrictions for all three of those. Pretty cool to have that kind of granular control. If you jump into power saving settings, you can also change a little bit more of those settings, those controls there as well. So there's actually another way to open up floating windows, and it's the smart sidebar. There's this little area over here. Maybe you can kind of see it popping out, and if you slide this over, you're going to get this sidebar. And if you click into this, you can grab an application, and it's going to launch it directly into a floating window. That's cool. It's a useful way to do that, but there's more stuff going on in this smart sidebar than just that. Obviously, you can customize this and have screenshots, screen recording, translate, screen translate, all of this cool stuff. But guys, there's some cool AI stuff in here as well. Let's jump back into the web browser, onto this page that I was on earlier, and let's pull this out, and now we're going to do AI summary. And it's going to grab the web page that we're on, and it's just going to start summarizing what is happening on that page. It's not the fastest LLM, whatever they're using, it's not super fast, but it does get the job done. You can also have this thing read to you, AI speak. Again, it's going to grab the text and it's going to start reading it off to you. I think this is a really cool feature as well. You've also got the same access to those recent files like you have in your taskbar, a bit of a redundancy as well. And then there's this thing called the file dock where you can pin applications, different files directly to this, and I think that they'll actually like save there, and they might even sync between other devices that are signed in, other Oppo, maybe OnePlus. It might have to be the same brand, but basically you can like save files there to be used later. The idea there being that you could drag anything onto that file dock and it's going to sync it to your other devices, and you can grab it from there and drag it into whatever app you're using. It's a pretty cool idea. This is a small one that I actually do like to have. If you go into Wi-Fi, click on your three dots at the top and then go into more settings, and then we're looking for Wi-Fi status display. Let's turn on Wi-Fi version number. I like to know that my device is using that expensive Wi-Fi 7 setup that I have here in the house, courtesy of TP-Link, and that will let you know right there. You see that 7 that is appearing there? Maybe for you it says 6 or 5. You're going to know exactly what's going on now. If we jump into accessibility and convenience, you'll see one-handed mode. This is definitely something that you're probably going to want to turn on. Basically how it works is just like you can see, you swipe down on that bar and it's going to pull half of the screen down. Now, as you can see, it's only there on the cover display. I'll give you one quick alternative. I've been using Quick Cursor as a one-handed mode for quite a while now, and it works really, really well. The way I've got mine set up, if I swipe in down here at the bottom of the screen, you'll see this cursor that comes out, and I can use this quite well to go back and do whatever it is that I need to do. If I need to check my notifications, I can just drag this up to the top, and boom, there are my notifications. It works on either side. It works on the cover display, and it works on the inner display. To me, it is better than the standard one-handed mode, but you do have options for both. Backend accessibilities and convenience, screenshot. They actually have a really robust screenshot system. So a 3-finger swipe down will do a screenshot. But what's really cool is if you do 3 fingers and you press and hold, you can do a partial screenshot just as well. You're just going to make sure that that's actually turned on. I would also suggest that you turn on delete original image after editing and delete screenshot after content extraction. So if you do a screenshot, you can jump into this and you can edit it and do whatever you want, and then you save it. You don't want to save necessarily. You don't want to save the original and the one you've marked up. So that setting will just keep the one that you've edited. The content extraction thing is this. If you do this, you can do extract content, and it's just another way to basically pull text out of something. You can do it with circle to search. You can do it with this as well. Now let's jump into gestures and motions, and let's look for screen off gestures. These are actually really, really cool. So there's a couple of basic ones here, like draw an O to open the camera, V to turn on your flashlight, or do this, a 2-finger swipe down to pause or play your music. Let me show you how this works. So as you can see, my screen is turned off. But if I draw a V, there's my flashlight. If I draw an O, it's gonna open up, I should say, and open up that camera application. And there are actually a few more, like launching the calculator, Gemini, recorder. Pretty cool setting. Now this device does use Gboard as its default keyboard, and there are at least a couple of things worth changing here. So go into your settings on Gboard, and let's look for text correction. Are you tired of telling someone to shut the duck up? Well, get rid of don't suggest offensive words, turn that off, and your curse words will be restored. Under voice typing, make sure that faster voice typing is enabled. What that's going to do is download a faster, more accurate model onto your device so it's not having to send it to the cloud and back to you, and it will make it faster. You also want to make sure that in your clipboard, show recently copied text and images in the suggestion bar. Make sure just all of this is turned on. I love the clipboard and Gboard, super useful. So this device actually does have tint mode, but the way that it sort of activates is a little bit confusing, such that you might not even realize that you can do it. You've got a video going here. If you bend it into this tint orientation, you might be like, well, the outer screen isn't turned on. How can I do tint mode? Well, if you actually rest it on something, it will recognize that and it will switch to tint mode automatically. It's actually pretty darn smart. In settings under sounds and vibrations, I would advise you to go into vibration intensity and turn this up. By default, it's down just a little bit. A device that's this thin, things like vibration can be a little bit weak, so turn that thing up as high as it's going to go so you actually feel the haptics happening. You've also got this option here for app-specific volume. This is pretty cool. So as you can see here, I've got some music playing. If I hit my volume rocker, this little option down here is new. If I click on this, I have my media volume, but I also have specifically YouTube music volume. So you can change these things independently now. So guys, there you go. That was a very long list of tips and tricks. And like I said earlier, inevitably, there will be things that I will have left off. I tried to hit the big ones for me, but there might be some big ones for you. So help everybody out. Put them in the comments down below. Subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.